Happy Family Day to all, and much appreciate Erwin. Thank you very much for everything.
Nice words, John. I appreciate your presentation, and I love the dialogue between you and Will.
Yeah, that was very special. He's just we've worked together very closely, and sometimes even when we're not, quite often we were on opposite sides of the mountain when we were doing our work, and we'll be continue on. And it's quite often I've been on the north side, he was on the south side, and he was like, at the watch house, and I was over at Westridge Terminal, but we'd always meet up and share our work together. And we have a lot of good friends in the Mountain Protectors, and a lot of organizations now broke. Mountain Protectors, you name it. Sarah's doing some incredible work. Donna, the 1308, the trees has been absolutely.
I've been following Donna's or the 1308 trees on Instagram and Facebook and the group.
It's a beautiful movement. A lot of people don't realize quite how many trees Trans Mountain has already mowed down. Literally mowed down. And I think that's why with the Bird Trust, we do everything we can to protect the environment for the birds and the eagles and the wildlife, and we're all connected.
And to your point, recognizing that there's no glass wall around Maplewood Flats, that the health of the birds at Maplewood Flats are entirely dependent on the health of the birds at Burnaby Mountain and across Tsleil-Waututh territory. And I recognize Nicole or Rachel, you've got probably a program to keep up with, so I'm not sure who's up next or.
Yes, we're good. We're just waiting for Kevin and Leanne and Deandra, and there's going to be a moment more. But yes, thank you so much, Erwin and Uncle John, and we really appreciate that. And it was really beautiful to oh, Deandra's ready. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to get her up, and thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, Kevin, you ready?
Hi, so is Kevin is ready?
Yep, Kevin should be ready. So yeah, Rachel, if you would introduce him, we'd appreciate that.
Cool. Okay, so our next speaker is Kevin Bell, a lifelong naturalist and sorry, I can't pronounce this,
ornithologist, I think. I know, it's a really hard word.
Ornithologist, ecologist. Okay, thank you so much. And retired chief naturalist manager at Lynn Canyon Ecology Center and DNV Natural Parklands. He was a key leader in the community efforts to conserve the mudflats in the early 1900s, a founding member of the Wild Bird Trust and a direct at large on the board. He will be coming in live from Osprey Point at the Maplewood Mudflats. So this is really exciting. And yeah, you guys get to take a glimpse at the mudflats today. So here you go. And thanks, Kevin.
Hi there. Thank you very much for that. And I've always been aware of that we are on unceded land, Tsleil-Waututh Nation. In the last 200 years, we've seen phenomenally big changes to their land by us. So here we are, rather drizzly, raw sort of day. This time last year, we were actually planting trees and shrubs, and we couldn't do it today. It's just the weather's not conducive. So we're down here looking at Burrard Inlet, and so we're looking south. We probably can see in the background the Chevron oil refinery. It's the last oil refinery in the inlet. There were actually 6 originally after the Second World War. Now most of them have been converted to tank farms. There's a tank farm over here belonging to Esso. No, sorry, that's Shell. Let me get that right, Shell. Exxon Essels further down. And of course, we have Kinder Morgan down the inlet where the beloved oil tankers are going to come in to take out the beloved tar oil from Alberta. Hopefully not, but Canadian taxpayers put a lot of money into that. And we have other things. This is sort of interesting. This is a big stump of a cedar that's been washed in here. And I don't know if you can get an idea from the photograph, but this must have been an exceptionally high tide to move that weight of floating cedar stump up to this height on these rocks, on this riprap. It just that gives you an idea of how high the tides can come here. And in fact, I think in the next number of years, we'll see high tides probably coming up to where we're standing, covering this area, because of global roasting, which I think is a nice name for it, not climatic warming, but global roasting. It's the way we're going. So way out here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what are called dolphins. They're groups of poles in the water, which were originally used to tie up log booms to for log sorting. And this was stopped by the Federal Department of Fisheries and Oceans in the 1970s because of detrimental impact by the bark of the logs to fisheries habitat. So these have not been used for that purpose for a long time. They are heavily creosoted, and they are now used for two. We use them, Wildberg Trust uses them for two things. One is we use them to put nest boxes for purple martins, a large swallow, which was certainly endangered in BC and has been brought back by this whole scheme around the Salish Sea of putting up nest boxes and save the species on this, certainly in this part of BC, and indeed down the west coast in Washington, Oregon, California, same thing has brought the species back, but they are totally dependent on us putting the nest boxes up. The very last dolphin or group of poles out there, I don't know if you can actually see it or not. It has a nesting pair of ospreys that return at the beginning of April every year and set up home on that dolphin. And generally they rear one, maybe two young. Unfortunately, last year they lost their young or the eggs to bald eagles. We had a sort of influx of about 6 to 10 immature bald eagles, right when the osprey probably had newly hatched young. And unfortunately, bald eagles like to eat young ospreys. Now, I have to put it, ospreys will generally be able to drive off a pair of eagles, but when you have more than a pair, they have a hard time dealing with that situation. The other thing is that the gulls, crows, ravens, they all will also eat eggs and young. So unfortunately last year, unsuccessful. But they have been very successful here since 1991 when they returned. Ospreys probably have bred along around Burrard Inlet for thousands of years. But back in the early part of the last century and late 1800s, there was this thinking that they eat fish, therefore they're bad, therefore we kill them. And so they were pretty well wiped out around the lower mainland until this pair returned to nest in 1991. And it's funny, the next year, the area here was saved as a wildlife conservation area. So it was like they knew that that was coming. Birds are the ospreys return to the same place that they were born. And I would imagine if we put up more 2x4s to support the nest, we might get more nesting here. Certainly a couple of years another pair nesting out to the left, out to the east. But yeah, now there are probably around Burrard Inlet, I would say at least 4 other pairs nesting at the moment, maybe more. And this is quite, given environmental news nowadays is so depressing, it's sort of nice to know that something can be done to help species like the osprey and that they've actually come back to Burrard Inlet. The same thing would go with the purple martins, of course. Yeah, and so there we are down here at Osprey Point. So if you want to come and see the ospreys, I would say any time from the first week in April is when you should be looking from here out towards the Dolphins there. And if you're looking for the purple martins, the beginning of May is the time to look for them. The ospreys take quite a long time to rear their young. They lay 4 up to 4 eggs, but generally they have this pair seems to have 1 or 2 young. In a good year, they will rear 2 young. In a average year, 1. And that generally takes them about 60 days. And then another 30 days to get the birds flying, hunting properly. So it takes them all summer. They as I would say, return in April, and they will have young by the middle of into June, July, early June, late June, early July, and then by the end of August, the young will be flying and hunting. Mom and Dad will depart. I should point out, Mom and Dad go down to Mexico for the winter. They've been going to Acapulco for years. They have a room there all set aside for them. They're like, but the juniors, the birds reared this year, takes them 3 years to become adults. And they wander down the coast of South America. And in fact, they winter, or they spend a year maybe on the coast of Chile or Argentina. That's a long way south. So that's a long flight for those birds. Now, they don't do it all in one go. They take their time. But after spending 3 years away, they come back to the area where they were actually born, where they hatched out, and they look for a mate. And the interesting thing is, it's like they're a clan. Mom and Dad come back. Mom and Dad don't winter together. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. But they come back to their site in the spring, and if the same pair come back to the same site, they will stay together. Of course, somebody dies, doesn't come back, then someone else of the clan will step into the gap. And so it's very much a family affair. Most birds actually, strangely enough, do winter and breed in the same areas. In fact, birds really, and when they're migrating, they stop at the same places to feed. And this is one of the things that make Maplewood so important, is that it's a migratory stop for a lot of small songbirds and for water birds. Whether it's during spring and fall when migration is happening, or in the winter when they're wintering here, as today we have a couple of species of goldeneye here, scaup, horned grebe, and of course bufflehead, which are regular winters, and of course large numbers of glaucous winged gulls. That's our biggest gull. But unfortunately, of course, we don't have zoom cameras and all that fancy equipment. We're doing well with a cell phone. And I mean, I hope your hands aren't getting too cold.
Okay.
Just tell me when to shut up.
2 minutes.
So we have 2 minutes left. So yeah, there you go. I can yatter on for ages. My Irish blood, I think, Anglo, Irish, Scottish, or whatever. This is, it's been a pleasure. And I hope to see you down here. The Wild Bird Trust can always use money. So if any of you want to give us a few 1,000, million, whatever, 20, 10, 5, 2, 1, whatever, we're happy to take it. And we do give out tax donation receipts. We're always glad to get a few shekels out of whoever. We don't discriminate about who donates money to us. There's no discrimination. We'll take money from anyone. We'll take it from the Vancouver Port Authority. They'll do it for us. Anyways, thank you very much. Night, night.
Amazing.
That was so awesome.
Yay. And I'm so happy that we all got back on because I was a little worried I lost everyone there. So thank you guys for your patience in that technical difficulties. That was on me. I wasn't exactly paying attention. So yeah, but I'm going to pass it back to Rachel. And I think we have Will George, the poet, coming up next. So yes, I'm just going to make sure they're all ready. Okay.
Okay, cool. So yeah, thanks to Kevin. He's very animated. And yeah, just thanks to him for showing us the beautiful view at the Maplewood Mudflats and all his insights. And I will definitely be checking out the Ospreys in April. I can't wait for that. And yeah, so next we have Will George, and I will share a little bit of his bio. And I'm pretty sure he's like on standby. But Will George is a writer and poet from Tsleil-Waututh Nation. Will's poems, both in prints and readings, draw on the struggles for cultural and personal survival of First Nations people in the context of the colonialization and development of the unceded territories of the Greater Metro Vancouver area. His poetry focuses on water bodies and the land and uses wolf and raven from traditional Salish stories in contemporary settings addressing contemporary issues. Will was the 2017 recipient of the Mayor's Award for Emerging Artist in Literary Arts. Yeah. His work has been published in various literary magazines and journals, including Rice Paper Magazine and Salish Seas Anthology, published by Aboriginal Writers Collective West Coast. His book of poetry, called Survival in Its Many Shapes, was published by Unit Pit Projects. So wow, that is like a lot. And he was one of 3 artists in Birds Rising, a Co-Salish artist residency curated by Camilla Todd, installed in the Roundhouse during the 2018 International Ornithological Congress, and subsequently at the Nature House. And many of you will have seen him perform here or there, where he is now, at the Flats for the annual Osprey Festival. So very talented man.
Okay,
Can't wait to hear his poetry. And here is Will George.
okay.
Good afternoon. I have 4 poems that I want to share with you today. And this first one I call A Coast Salish Map. A Coast Salish Map. A map is more than lines, numbers, and letters on a page. Yes, map is a story. Story of place, story of community, story of survival. A map is a story of conflict and cooperation. And the next 3 are a set of poems. The word ocean. The word ocean is moving this way and that way. The tide waters drop and lift, and the ocean waves sway off the coast. Oh, sure, you should flow into my life. Blue, white waves swirl, whirl, and rise upon the shore, move round, tossing up on the page, then flowing out with the tide. The word mountain. The word mountain is massive, standing strong, and huge, pressing against rugged and jagged rock. One mountain juts out of the ocean, another mountain feeds a river. Upon the rugged mountain terrain is a narrow, deep gorge, meeting a steep rock face on the coast. The word mountain rests upon the earth for many millennia. The word survival. The word survival presses onward through any scrutiny. Survival moves through the morning, day, night, through any adversity. The word survival continues on upriver through the mountain snow melt, through any criticism. Thank you. I could, yeah. Okay. Don't want to monopolize time.
No worries, Will.
Oh,
You're doing great.
Okay, I got it. I really like this one. Mountain bedded rock. Mountain bedded rock. I stroll along the Stanley Park seawall this spring morning. From across the broad inlet, I etch myself out of the mountainside. My image is captured there once, every line through the contours of Grouse Mountain. I can argue that we are rock, we always have been. Composed of earth and minerals, the Creator made us out of stone and dirt. I forget that I am rock, and when the mountain slides to the ocean, that is not my concern. I pull myself away from my place here, denying that the world shaking and falling apart has anything to do with me. In the blue-green of this world, sing and pray with me as we recreate ourselves in the mountain. I stand here on the seawall with the wind blowing in from the ocean. I know that the foundation of who we are and why we're here is that you and I, we are a mountain-bedded rock. H.K.
All right.
Can I ask Will a question?
Yeah, Carlene. Carlene has a question for Will. Definitely go right ahead.
Hey, Will, thanks for sharing your poetry with us. I'm just kind of curious, where do you get your inspiration?
What's the question?
I was asking Will, I was thanking him for his beautiful poetry and asking where he gets his.
We do. You want to go back a bit? What's the question?
The question is, where does Will get his
Inspiration.
Oh. A lot of my work is about our connection to the land, and so that's just kind of thinking about the land. A lot of times it's not about writing the poetry, it's about the poetry coming to me and sharing it.
Oh, Sam.
Thank you so much, Will. That was amazing. Rachel, you can I think I'm just gonna double check our schedule, but yes, and Rachel, you're up for your poetry, so I'm very excited. And you can take it away.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to like thank Will again, like for sharing his poetry. And I find it so relatable. Like when Will reads his poetry, I really picture myself in those places because, you know, what he talks about, it means so much to me as well. So that's something I love about his work. It's just like completely relatable to, you know, anyone who loves Vancouver. And nature. So nature and Vancouver. But yeah, today I'm going to be reading some poetry from my great grandfather's book, Chief Dan George. And yeah, this is the one I have. And you know, it's Family Day, and this is a way for me to spend some time with, you know, family and just like keeping that tradition alive. And yeah, I'm gonna start by reading out, like, you know, since it is Family Day, he has written a thanks here, and it's like one of the first things in the book, which I find just really I find this like really fitting because it is Family Day. And it says, "Thanks to my father, for he gave me skill, stamina, and the knowledge of my past. To my mother, for she gave me the love for life and taught me to respect it. To my wife, because she has shared my burden when it threatened to slow my pace and kept by my side when we traveled lightly. And to my children and their children, because in their eyes I have seen myself. This is good." So I just love that, you know, he has all this thanks to his family. And I think that is just really beautiful. And the first poem I'll read is, "My mother had a kindness that embraced all life. She knew her place well and was comfortable in giving everything she had. This is the tradition of Native women." And next one, I'll actually share the picture that went along with that since I have it right here. So that was the photo. "Young people are the pioneers of new ways. Since they face too many temptations, it will not be easy to know what is best." And I think that just has so much just validation with like everything that's going on today. And it's so relevant, you know, like his words with the young people and, you know, what we're doing to help preserve like the environment, and also the relevancy of, you know, talking about his mother and, you know, the tradition of Native women, because I feel like a lot of what we know and our teachings are heavily passed down through our Native women and our mothers, our Native mothers. So yeah, it's just so relevant. I love that. And the next one is quite a long one, and it's called "Words to a Grandchild." And I just thought this is really fitting to share today because is family day in a lot of us. From Tsleil-Waututh, you know, he's our relative and our, like, you know, grandfather, great grandfather, uncle, granduncle. Yeah, so just, it's just nice to share something like his words to all of us. So, words to a grandchild. Perhaps there will be a day you will want to sit by my side asking for counsel. I hope I will be there, but you see, I am growing old. There is no promise that life will live up to our hopes, especially to the hopes of the aged. So I write of what I know, and someday our hearts will meet in these words, if you let it happen. In the midst of a land without silence, you have to make a place for yourself. Those who have worn out their shoes many times know where to step. It is not their shoes you can wear, only their footsteps. You may follow if you let it happen. You come from a shy race. Ours are the silent ways. We have always done things in a gentle manner, so much as the brook that avoids the solid rock. In its search for the sea and meets the deeper in passing, you must too follow the path of your own race. It is steady and deep, reliable and lasting. It is you, if you let it happen. You are a person of little, but it is better to have little of what is good than to possess much of what is not good. This your heart will know if you let it happen. Heed the days when the rain flowers freely in their grayness. Lies the seed of much thought. The sky hangs low and paints new colors on the earth. After the rain, the grass will shed its moisture. The fog will lift from the trees. A new light will brighten the sky and play in the drops that hang on all things. Your heart will beat out a new gladness if you let it happen. Each day brings an hour of magic. Listen to it. Things will whisper their secrets. You will know. What fills the herbs with goodness makes days change into nights, turns the stars, and brings the change of seasons. When you have come to know some of nature's wise ways, beware of your complacency, for you cannot be wiser than nature. You could only be as wise as any man will ever hope to be, if you let it happen. Our ways are good, but only in our world. If you like the flame on the white man's wick, learn of his ways so you can bear his company. Yet when you enter his world, you will walk like a stranger. For some time, bewilderment will, like an ugly spirit, torment you. Then rest on the holy earth and wait for the good spirit. He will return with new ways as his gift to you, if you let it happen. Use the heritage of silence to observe others. If greed has replaced the goodness in a man's eyes, See yourself in him. So you will learn to understand and preserve yourself. Do not despise the weak. It is compassion that will make you strong. Does not the rice drop into your basket, whilst your breath carries away the chaff? There is good in everything if you let it happen. When the storms close in and the eyes cannot find the horizon, you may lose much. Stay with your love for life, for it is the very blood running through your veins. As you pass through the years, you will find much calmness in your heart. It is the gift of age, and the colors of the fall will be deep and rich if you let it happen. As I see beyond the days of now, I see a vision. I see the faces of my people, your sons' sons, your daughters' daughters. Laughter fills the air. That is no longer yellow and heavy. The machines have died. Quietness and beauty have returned to the land. The gentle ways of our race have again put us in the days of the old. It is good to live. It is good to die. This will happen. So I just think those are such powerful words, and the relevancy of these words amazes me, and it always makes me feel good to, take some time and read these words and really let them resonate with me. And yeah, I just feel like it's like really good teachings, and it's good medicine for the heart. That's why my heart soars. So yeah, thank you. And next we have Cease. And this is exciting because she's going to take us on a plant walk, and she is going to be outside. She's going to be braving the cold. It is Arctic air out there right now and freezing. So thank you, Cease, for doing this for us. And Cease is the resident ethnobotanist. Nicole, can you help me out? Is it ethnobotanist?
I say ethnobotanist, but it could be ethnobotanist too. I know I'm a little bit bad with words. Oh, see, I think we can hear her. Maybe she can help us. Yeah, I think it's ethnobotanist.
Okay.
Ethnobotanist.
Perfect.
Ethnobotanist. Yeah.
Ethnobotanist.
Sweet.
So Cease is the resident ethnobotanist at Maplewood Mudflats, assisting with the development of the nursery program and advising and sharing her vast knowledge of plants and the interconnected ecosystems. Cease is of Squamish, Stolo, Hawaiian, and Swiss ancestry. Such a great mix. And an ethnobotanist and renowned indigenous plant diva. She is an interdisciplinary artist who is very busy with many projects and collaborations on the go and many of the past. I love her work. She is brilliant. She has teamed up with Anne Riley on a public art project called A Constellation of Remediation, which has been running for the past 18 months at different Vancouver areas and sites. Cease is also a mentor at the I Am For Media Lab project at Emily Carr University. She recently collaborated with Damien Gills and Oliver Leroux on Sanctuary, the Dakota Bear Ancient Forest Experience, an immersive adventure as part of this year's Push Festival. Yeah, and Cease is going to take us on a virtual plant walk now. Yeah, so thanks, Cease.
Thank you very much. Waichuk, Waichakyo. Hatsquile, Eich Tanoya, Toitstanot Quian Quinshaman, and Cease Quian Sna. And I'm standing here down at the right next to the Maplewood Flats Coast Salish nursery, where we grow and nurture and sell indigenous plants that help support the Maplewood Flats in so many ways. These are plants we actually put into the land here, and you can see the nice nursery. And I'm surrounded by some beautiful plant relatives here. I'm very excited to see this. Check this out. That is the blooms that are about to burst for the Oregon grape. And so we have Oregon grape under a canopy of other plants. And here we are. We can see there's just some people going by here. Some happy families on Family Day. Hello. Hello. Coming to you live. Happy Family Day, everybody. Okay, we're gonna go for a little walk, and I want to keep my mask off so you guys can see and have an easier time hearing me. And yeah, let's see the wonders that we can find on this beautiful trail. I see some buds forming over here. Let's go very carefully. Come on over here. At this time of year, we're seeing a lot of bud action happening. You see that? Just teeny. Look how tiny. It's just small. And yet it's a whole bush that is covered in these little buds. You barely see them from afar, but when you come up close, you start to recognize them. And I'm going to kind of do a pan around so you can see. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Mossy trees protecting the moss grows and protects the trees. And then when there's deer walking through here, when we're lucky, they come and nibble on the lichens growing on there. Oh, I see some bird friends on the path. I don't know if you're seeing them, but they're out here nibbling, and because this is such a safe place for them to live, they get to grow. I think we have some wild plums starting to form here. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. There. So these will soon burst into little white flowers. I'm gonna cover my face for a minute while I walk by these nice ladies.
How do you know we're nice?
Well, you're smiling. Oh, humorous people here. Now I look like a bandit myself. But I love the winter time because it's very important for the plants. They need to go to sleep. Like we like to sleep at night. The winter is the nighttime for the trees and other plants, perennials. The roots get to take a rest and they get to sleep and gather their energy to grow and keep producing beautiful blooms and leaves. So when you're in the forest at this time of year, you should never, ever think for a moment that everything is dead. In fact, it is very much alive. Just like we go into a stasis when we go to sleep at night, we need to rest. Our bodies get very tired and they need the sleep. Here is a really beautiful oak tree. So I'm going to come on over here and tiptoe through the moss. I'm very careful how I walk. I'll show you how it looks here on the ground. So I try to go on the green patches. And the reason being is that there are little creatures sleeping under the leaves. There are salamanders and different wild bees. And here we go. Here are some nice oak leaves. on this little oak tree here. Yeah, there it is. And it's having a nice nap, but I'm amazed at how all the leaves managed to stay on the trees. When we look around and we see how many trees have dropped all their leaves, and then this little oak tree has managed to hold on to its life and its leaves. And at some point there, you know, a wind is going to come along and shake them all off, and that'll be okay. So I'm going to also say happy Family Day to everybody. Hello, thanks for being out here. It's nice to see people when you're in isolation, and especially when you live alone. Seeing people for real walking in the forest is really fun and magical. You're never really alone in the forest, by the way, because when you walk in the forest, you walk with your ancestors, because the rocks are our grandfathers, and the plants, including the trees and mosses and lichens, they're our grandmothers. So when you're in a natural space like this, you are with your ancestors and you're never alone. And that is a really wonderful thing to note. And I don't know if people can hear the birds. I hope you can, because they're very beautiful. They're having little conversations with each other. They're saying, hey, there's humans in the woods. What are they doing? Here's another family. Hi, families. Are you enjoying your day? Awesome. So beautiful out today, hey? Thanks for joining us down here for Family Day. Enjoy your day. Yeah, it's a really good thing for families to be here on any day that they can make it out to the forest, because when we walk on the land, we become connected to our ancestors, and we have a much deeper connection to who we are in ourselves. I'm going to walk over towards this other little pathway, because I'm hoping to find some other things that we can look at. And I can hear the birds. I can hear the birds talking. It's my favorite part of today, is that the birds are having conversations. And I'm going to slip in here while these folks go walking by. I'm going to go this way while you guys go that way. Yeah, because we have folks out here. Happy Family Day. Oh, look at these. So, okay, here I have to say, not that I don't want any of the plants to feel left out, but I'm right next to some of my favorite plants here. And here comes more people and little birds running. They're literally running on the ground. Happy Family Day. And, just gonna see if I can, there we go. Okay, so right behind me, there are these kind of orangey, brownish plants that just look like sticks, but let me tell you, they are more than sticks. They are beautiful salmon berries, and they are there's also some hardhack. I can see, if you can look up, the little fuzzy brown flowers up there is all hardhack. These are really great indigenous plants that produce a lot of flowers, and the flowers feed the bees. Then they produce seeds, which then feed the birds. So the forest is a very harmonious place where all of the animals and plants help each other. So I'm going to come down close to here so you can actually see the base of these salmon berries. Here we go. There, see? And you can see that there are thorns. And so this beautiful sleeping plant is actually getting some bud action. And pretty soon, before the leaves pop out, beautiful fuchsia flowers are going to show up, and they're going to feed the hummingbirds and any sleepy bees that might be around. So this time of year is an important year to look at not so much what isn't growing, but what is, like these beautiful lichens. And that's deer food. I took some children out for a walk a couple of weeks ago, and I was explaining to them that when you think you're doing deer a favor by putting out vegetables and grasses and things that you might feed to horses or rabbits, you're actually signing them up for death. I know it's a hard thing to hear, but we as humans need to actually do our own research before we think about how to feed animals. And I've told people the best bird feed is wild indigenous plants. More happy Family Day. And so the lichens are deer food. So if you find branches coming down off trees in your neighborhood and they get blown onto the road, maybe pick them up and put them back into the forest so that if some wild deer go by, they can have a nice nibble, they can eat some good food, and you're helping them. And it's the same with if you want to feed wild birds, your best bet is to go out and research the local indigenous plants that you could put into your yard or your community garden. Or if you really want to do something fun with the whole community, you can build a food forest. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a food forest for you all, but it can become your own little personal sanctuary for the local animals that are looking for food. Believe it or not, wild animals do not want to eat our garbage. They only do because they have to. So here, check this out. Here we go. There's some nice windblown usnea. So this came down off a tree, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go chuck it into the woods. There we go. Oh, look at this. Yeah. So that little shell there is a signal of the interaction between the birds and the ocean. So when we're thinking about how do animals connect how are the oceans and the forests connected? They're mostly connected through birds, which is a very cool thing. And I think we found some other little plants here. Oh, here we go, some bud action. I love this. Just when we think everything's sleeping, hey? It's like, hey, I'm awake. I'm starting to wake up. We have nice lichen action with the buds coming out. We have a little hawthorn berry tree here. Look at these hawthorn berries. Oh yeah, there they are. Yeah, they're just coming down off of this big tree over here. Oh, looks like we got a murder of crows up there. Ah! I have a terrible cough. Hello, Anhasquile, out. Sometimes you have to just speak your own language and have a conversation with these animals and say, hey, what's going on up there? So the beauty of this wonderful public space that people can come and enjoy is a great way for humans to interact with the local flora and fauna, come and learn things about the plants that the animals love to feed off of, and learn about plants that are good for us as well. I have this beautiful fir tree up here. I'm going to come up close to another oak tree. Here we go, another oak. Still has its leaves on it. It's just holding on. I'm like, I'm not letting go of them. Look at this oak tree. It's right at the ocean and it has a few leaves still on it. So here we go. In the undercarriage of this beautiful, beautiful fir. Here's the bark. I like to hug trees. So I'm gonna just take a moment on this family day to show this family member some love and talk about how important it is that we remember that not only are we in need of love, but our forests, our local forests and shorelines are really in need of love. Hoichoch CM. Thank you. So I'm also hugging this tree because I can feel the bark, and the bark is medicine, as are the boughs. So we use parts of this tree to make medicines for ourselves. Oh, there's a nice little furry friend. Hi, furry friend. Hello. I think he thought I wasn't really alive. He sniffed my leg and then jumped. So we use the fir boughs. You could take a branch this size. See how it's like works out to about the size of two or three handfuls. And you could snip that with some good garden shears. You don't want to just break it off because that harms the tree. And then you could also take a knife and make a simple cut in there without harming the trunk, and just take a small piece that is like, see how big my hand is? That's just small. You can see. There we go. And by doing that, you can take that bark home and put it into a pot. Happy family day. And you can put that into a nice pot and simmer it up and see I think after about half hour to an hour, you'll start to see the water turn. The longer that you simmer it, like 2 to 3 hours, the better it's going to be. I'm going to do this so you can see this nice tree. And we can also do that with the boughs and make a tea and then drink that. It's great for respiratory system. It's great for our digestion. We don't do this all the time, but when you make it, you could be drinking it for up to 5 days, and then make sure you dump it all back into the earth and let it feed the earth. And then think about how these medicines connect us to the land. When we use medicines, food and medicines that are indigenous to here, we start to find out just how connected we really are. And that whole interconnectedness is what helps us to understand. It's like the land will speak to us through dreams and through visions. Oh, there's this cute fat crow just sitting over there. I see you guys can see it. It's sitting up next to that tree there. There we go. Right in the middle. Yeah, it's having a nice little view of the flats. I'll do another span of the flats here. And there's lots of bird action out here. Look at how big that is. It's a very delicate ecosystem out here. And my earliest memories of coming down to the flats, down to Tsleil-Waututh with my family to go visit our cousins at Tsleil-Waututh and go dig up clams was some of my best memories of my life. And I sadly cannot do that with my daughter nor my granddaughter because we have that ugly thing over there. And then there's another ugly thing way over there. Those resource extraction elements that harm our beautiful environment. So the other thing that's harmful, I don't know if you can see, but right behind me are a couple of invasive species here. And one is the big red vines, which are the Himalayan Blackberry. And then we have a little broom plant growing there. And the broom plant is great until it produces a whole bunch of flowers and seeds. When it gets to about 5 feet high, you need to cut it down because after that, it's no longer good for the environment. It starts to harm it. Look at this. This is so pretty. Look at that red. Yeah. So red willows, which are actually in the dogwood family, and they are a fantastic pollinator. If you're really looking to attract birds in your yard, red willow is one of your best bets. It produces tons of flowers, and that helps the bees, all kinds of bees. And especially in the fall when we get the migratory as well as regional birds. But the migratory birds are looking for food because they have so far to fly. Some of them are flying between Alaska and Mexico, maybe not that full distance, but that's a wide range across North America that they travel. So yeah, I'm enjoying this beautiful walk. Look at all the moss in there. Oh, love that. That moss is acting like a mulch, a living mulch that protects the earth. And when the leaves, you can see the leaves that are all in there. When the leaves fall into there, they start to decompose and they build the nutrients that eventually the worms come up and eat and turn into soil. Hello. Oh, I'm I'm being beckoned back now. I'm having too much fun out here. Here I come, Leanne. Here's Leanne. Give us a shout. So there's just before I leave, there's a nice, beautiful giant sword fern that on the Pacific Northwest coast, it's like the majority of the plants you're gonna see are ferns, and sword fern especially is just one of those fun and fabulous plants that holds the earth in place, keeps things in order. The animals can nibble on that, and it's places to hide for pollinators when it's windy. You know, just like we get blown around, so do the pollinators. So imagine if you were a little bumblebee just trying to get home and the big wind came. You'd be so happy to find a nice, beautiful sword fern to hide under till the wind blew over so you could get home safely. And yeah, I'm gonna walk back to the nature house and I'm gonna sing us out and have a nice goodbye for the day. And I really hope that this has been a fun little walk. Oh, I just want to do a pan of this nice lichen-filled log. There we go. There's some good deer food right there. Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. If you want to feed deer, protect those lichen-filled branches and throw them around in your local parks or your local community garden or your yard if you're one of those lucky folks that gets to live near the forest. Don't throw those out into the land waste. Keep them on the property. If you are a person that loves to watch deer walking by, you're not going to see them if you get rid of their good food. And it's hard to believe that a 1,200-pound animal nibbles on tiny bits of lichens, but they do.
What's your favorite plant?
Oh, what's my favorite plant? They're all my favorite plants.
What plant do you use the most?
What plant do I use the most? I would say it's the wonderful, fabulous licorice fern that you will find. It's a winter plant, and we haven't seen any today, but I did see some yesterday when I was up at Mount Seymour.
It's my favorite plant too, Cease.
Oh, so delicious.
It's amazing.
It's pretty. It's a rhizome-based plant. The sword fern I showed you earlier is a root ball, so it grows in a root ball and just holds on to the earth. It helps to stop erosion. But the licorice ferns are rhizomes, and so like one little fern at a time will stick up. So you'll get a whole row of little ferns on a rhizome. And there are many rhizome-based plants in this forest. We have stinging nettle that aren't up yet because it's winter. Devil's Club, we haven't seen any here, but we're gonna try to transplant some and get it going on the shorelines here along the estuary and the river system. And yeah, the licorice fern is a great rhizome-based plant, and we can eat it. I think that the Coast Salish
Amazing.
probably lived off of it for centuries. Oh, kind of cover up. Happy Family Day. Trying to say that every 2 minutes.
I'm just getting a photo of it for everyone to see.
Oh yeah, thank you. I have my lovely assistant,
So this is
Nicole.
So it grows on like it loves like maple big leaf maple
It's in the
trees,
back.
and it grows in the moss like this.
Yeah. So you can see that it
Yeah.
doesn't grow in clumps. It grows one at a time, and it's quite a happy plant. Oh, one more before I go. Can I put the camera back on? I'm just going to show these beautiful tiny little gems. These are snowberries. Oh, they're just luscious. And we squish them in our hands and rub them around and rub them on the areas where we have nerve damage to help heal ourselves. Don't eat them, also known as ghost berries. Sure, there's a good reason for that. Okay, so we're back at the nature house. I'm going to do a little pan out here. This is the back. This is what we get to look at. And often there are deer that come and nibble on everything here. And then I think my lovely assistant Leanne is bringing me my drum. Fabulous. And then I'm going to give her my camera, and I'm going to sing us a song over there so we're not under the canopy.
Yeah.
Before you begin, Cease, I just want to let everyone know that after Cease is done and we're finished the event, that we will have about a few minutes if you have any questions or comments, and we'll also tell you about upcoming events too, okay? So I'll pass it off to Cease, and
then flip the image.
yeah, but definitely stick around if you do have questions, okay?
Just touch the screen.
I know.
And then-
Oh,
Did you get it?
no.
It's up in the corner.
We can see you. Yeah,
There you go.
perfect.
I'll stand over here because I'm going to sing, and I don't want to share my moist energies with Leanne. Okay, so because of this beautiful snow, I think we should sing a song with the winter in it. And that song I'm going to share with you today is called the Tum Tum Slolum. And the Tum Tum Slolum is about the snowbird. And the song, I actually learned this song while spending close to 10 years going to save the Ilaho Valley. And I would hear this song, everybody would sing it for my nation. And I was like, oh, every time I hear this song, it lifts me up. And then I learned more about the song. I learned that the song actually came from the wife of Chief Billy, who literally climbed the mountain up one side and down the other, from Mount Currie to the Ilaho Valley. So apparently this song came from the other side, from our neighbors, but it was over 200 years ago, so many people didn't even know. When we told our Lilwat families this came from there, they were like, what? We've never heard that song. So we've been helping bring that song home, and we keep learning it and sharing it. And it's the Tum Tum Slolum, beautiful, Anhasqualowins. Tum Tum means the snow, it means winter, and in this song, it means the snowbird. So sorry, Anne Marie, our snowbird song's older than yours, but we got a nice one. It fills my heart to share this beautiful day with you in the winter and on this family day. I hope you are all embracing each other, whether you're with each other or not. Send your squallowins. You tell each other, Tum Slay, family. Tum Slay means I love you. And squallowins are our hearts. So I hope this has filled your hearts today to listen to the beautiful, beautiful sharing that everybody has done. I only got to weigh in on Cousin Carlene's part, then I had to drive here. So I miss Cousin Will sharing, but it makes me so happy in what is going on this site, not only for the birds and the bees, but for community to be able to come and share and to know these stories of this land and of these waters, and that we have a connection to a time before there was anything else industrial here. And we're really happy to know that people get to come here and hear the birds and watch the seasons for the next, now it's winter, then we'll go to spring, and then summer, then fall, and then we're back here again in the winter. So I hope your season of the cold time is good for you, and take advice from the trees and take a nap, rest up, get ready for the spring where we'll all be working and planting trees and plants and watching the wondrous hummingbirds gathering nectar out of the beautiful fuchsia salmon berry flowers. Oh, I cannot wait. All right, Point Mash, Point Mash, Point Mash.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cease. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And if we could have all participants or panelists just turn their video on so we can see all of your lovely faces. And thank you all so much for your contributions. I'll pass it off to Rachel.
Hi, yes, thank you, Sis. That was amazing. I can't wait to get my seeds out and planting all my flowers and plants in my yard. But yeah, like just thanks to everyone for coming. We
You're on camera now.
appreciate all the guest speakers who gave their time, shared their knowledge and expertise with us. I want to share a comment from the Wild Bird Trust and their thanks to members of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation for sharing Family Day together. Everyone is welcome at Maplewood Mudflats, and the Wild Bird Trust welcomes Tsleil-Waututh and other Coast Salish peoples and all of you viewing today to get involved at Maplewood Mudflats. We hope that everyone enjoyed the event today, and just to stay safe and, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, and social distance. And maybe one day we could do these in person again. But this was a very wonderful experience that I had virtually with all of you. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for spending Family Day.
OCM, and Pasqualowans, Point Mash.
Hi, Tsepka, everyone. Thank you so much. I just want to say thanks to the organizers for everything. Today just went so beautifully, and just imagine what it would have been like in person, but we will get there one day.
Yes,
so good to hear all my good relatives share all their teachings, and how Kevin and Rob bringing your teachings and understandings, just everything just wove itself together in this great big beautiful blanket that I'm feeling like I'm hugged with, and my mom too.
Big hug back.
Hi, cousin.
Yeah, great big
Hi.
hugs.
Hi, Auntie Dee.
I will love you.
Thanks to the Wild Bird Trust production team. Thanks to Nicole and Deandra and Leanne and Rachel for hosting. Thanks to the board of directors and all the WB team.
Thank you, Erwin. Thank you to all our panelists. Thank you to Rachel for being an amazing MC, and we really appreciate all of your time and energy and knowledge and wisdom. And reading the poetry was also absolutely beautiful. So a huge thank you to everyone who came, all the panelists involved. And this was our first huge live event, so there was a few bumps along the way, but we're super appreciative of everyone's time and patience. So I will just stick around if anyone does have any questions, if any attendees have any questions they want to ask, and we can always pass that on to the panelists too afterwards. I do want to say though, we have some events coming up that I just want to read off. So we have our plant profiles with Cease, and that's coming up on February 20th. We have another Let's Talk About Plants event on February 25th, as well as our owl. So that's I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's OWL presentation. It's a Q&A, as well as our fireside chat that happens one Sunday every month. And that's actually hosted by Walbur Trust President Irwin, who's here right now. So I will link our Eventbrite in the follow-up email that's coming out to you guys soon. That will have this video, any links to anything important, as well as our Eventbrite. So definitely check those out. But yeah, so thank you again to all the panelists, and it was amazing. And I hope you have an amazing day. And again, if anyone has any questions, thank you, Rachel. If anyone has any questions, just stick around and we'll do that.